2023.
Second.
In a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, now I had them.
Now we're talking about
Now
the
we're
new
talking
contract.
about the new thing.
Yes,
No dates on it.
the new contract?
Yeah.
It was signed 3/27/23. The actual contract in the back, yeah, it's, the dates will be made. Once it's signed by Derek, the dates will be added. Because if the contract has a dead end, let's say a year, 6 months, whatever, it doesn't take effect till it's signed. And I don't know when that's gonna happen. So if I date it, I'm using contract days without a signature. So it was the town suggested that the date that we put there is the date that Derek physically signs it. Then that's the date we'll use. So we don't put it till after Derek signs it.
This is essentially a service contract on the fire system. That's all we're talking about here.
So it's a quarterly service to make sure it works. We used to use Simplex. We've done it for years.
Right.
Simplex was $13,000 a year.
Excuse me?
$13,000 a year was for
What you
Simplex.
said.
And this is $6,000. And this, he's on a state contract, it's a state bid, so it's just it's a better deal, but
So
anyway.
this is $6,400 every 3 months.
Is that,
I'm asking.
no, I got this as an annual fee.
I thought you said it was a quarterly.
A quarterly inspection, total compensation by this contract will not exceed $6,400. They come quarterly, but the total cost of this
Oh.
contract is $6,400.
I make a motion, we approve the contract for Norwell Service Company, Inc. for $6,400 for an annual fee.
Yeah, I'll second it.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And now we've got the OSD contract.
OSD contract is to get the bid back on the street, so it's going to look at Primus, which we already approved. He's going to look into the bullet liner because that's been brought to our attention. I found it interesting when I saw the news and they were talking about a Chinese airline that mimics the 737, and they took all the technology from the 737 and they made an aircraft that they're going to market, which is supposed to cost America over the next 10 years, I think it said, trillions of dollars, because they'll buy that opposed to the American 737. It made me think, because we have the same situation where bullet liner becomes a duplicate of Primus. Now, what makes bullet liner appealing is it's cheaper. They said they can do it a lot cheaper.
Right.
But the question we have to ask ourselves is, it may be cheaper, and we don't mind that, but is it going to be as effective and as efficient?
Okay. Now, we had a contract, went out to bid, someone came in, and what were they using that you'd said?
Primus.
Primus.
Primus line.
And you felt that that was not proven
felt-
enough to be used in the project?
No, we feel Primus lining is, we were happy with it. What happened is that once Wright Pierce brought to our attention, they said, listen, I know you guys like Primus, but this bullet liner, this Chinese product, this new product on the market from China called the bullet liner is a lot cheaper, does the same thing. So now we have to, the question begs to be asked is, well, if it's the same thing and we can get it for less money, then why wouldn't we? The question is it? Because it's never been used in America. So what the engineer has to certify is that it's equal or not equal. He's got to make that determination. Either he makes it before the bid or after the bid. The decision was made to make it before the bid.
All right.
Go ahead.
It's never been used in America?
No.
Are they willing to compensate us for us being the guinea pig?
They said it's already cheaper. So that's why you're already getting cheaper.
Don't keep their chopsticks.
You'll see, but I can tell them that, but the problem is if they bid and it's cheaper by mass law, I gotta take the cheapest bid. The engineer has to prove that it's not equal. They can say all they want, it's equal. We have to prove it's not. It's on our burden to prove it's not. I don't know if that makes sense. So
I'm
that's
sorry.
part of our
It
process.
makes sense because it's government, because it makes no sense.
Absolutely,
All right. We received a bid for the project, right?
yes.
And we turned it down because of the material that was in the bid?
No, we turned it down because we didn't have enough money. It came in higher than the money
Okay,
we had.
Yeah, that was the
That was
first
the reason.
time.
Yes.
Now
haven't-
we got more money from the town. Where do we stand?
We're trying to put it back out to bid.
Okay, so it hasn't, the first bid came in, it was too high for the money available.
Yes.
What was the product being used in that bid?
Primus.
Okay, so we got more money and we haven't put it out to bid yet. OSD Engineering Consulting is here for a contract for
$83,000.
$83,500 to do what for us?
To put it out to bid.
Only to put it out to bid, nothing
Well,
else. So if I
no.
look at this,
It's a lot in there, but put out to bid. He's got to, so if you read everything on here,
yeah,
that's all included. But I'll just simplify, say, put it out to bid. We got to go back out, so he's got to do the specifications, do the plans, get the plans out to be bid, all that good stuff.
wait, don't we already have plans?
We have some,
We have
yes,
plans in order to put out the first bid?
we do.
Why do we need new plans?
Because they're stamped by Wright Pierce, and Wright Pierce is recommending we go with Bullet, and we don't know if it's right or wrong. So we have to do,
So when we put it out to bid, we included the bullet,
no, we haven't yet. We're not-
sorry, the first time.
First time we put out just Primus.
But you just said that the engineering plans had bullet liner in it.
What I said is the engineers that did it the first time are now recommending we do Bullet.
But they didn't put it in writing?
No, they haven't done, yeah, they have not. What they said, I'll try to simplify it.
It's really simple. It's simple.
It is.
Wait,
but-
wait, Jimmy,
We've got two products. We don't know, we want, no one is good.
Excuse me, just one second.
The others
We
come
only
in-
had one product when it went out originally for the
Mm-hmm.
bid.
we went,
Now we have two products.
okay, so the first went out,
Now have
we
to
did a bid.
Validate
We-
the second product.
We did the bid stating that we wanted it done in Primus. Was that in our bid requirements?
Yes, the specifications of what the product is.
So we
yes.
went out with Primus in our bid.
Yep.
Everything came in that we couldn't afford.
Yes,
So we're about to put out a second bid in which we're saying whether or not we want to specify Primus or bullet liner, and we need an engineer to tell us the difference between the two and what would be recommended.
what I'm saying, so, yes, you got it, but
Thank you,
You're getting pretty close.
you're getting close.
I'm getting
but
closer.
It's close enough to satisfy what you're saying.
which is why we're looking at this $83,000, because it says, why do I need details and specifications? You answered the question because I'm going to be dealing with a second product that I did not include in the first.
That's correct.
Prepare construction cost using both types of product?
No,
No, it would be construction costs, whatever the construction costs are. But he has to vet, technically, both products are supposed to be identical, and we don't know that.
And part of this work that's going to be done by OSD would tell us whether or not Primus and bullet liner will result in the same product for installation.
Correct.
So this is really a analysis of the two types of linering system and a recommendation from this engineering consultant as to what we should be included in our bid.
That is correct.
So we're going to be getting a report
You
that
will.
talks about both products.
Will.
I think I finally have it.
Now, does that mean OSG is going to guarantee the bullet project?
It's OSD, you can talk to him. He's going to vet it. If he says it's an equal to, then we'll allow them to bid. If he says it's not an equal to, we won't allow them to bid.
Won't allow who to bid?
Well, we will cancel, because when they bid, so
When we
bullet
put
liner
out a
can
bid,
bid.
we have to say what product we want,
We're going to specify the products. If,
and we won't know that until we
until
hear.
he figures out, because bullet liner, until Sean, this is Sean from OSD, Sean Osborne, until bullet liner, we have to, because bullet liner has a right to bid because they're saying it's an equal. We have to show it's not an equal to exclude it, and that's where Sean comes in. He's got the stamp, he's a PE. He has to say it is or it isn't.
The bottom line is that we need to do this because Bullet can bid on the project, they can have an inferior product, but unless we specify and can prove one versus the other,
That's right.
we have to accept their bid if it comes in lower.
That is correct.
So all we're trying to do is cover our ass.
We're trying to protect us from getting an inferior product. That's all we're trying to do.
Sounds pretty simple.
Because the way the procurement laws in Massachusetts, you've got to take the lowest bidder unless you can prove that they're not equal.
Where's the 8350 coming from? 83,500?
In our budget, outside contractors.
We have it?
We have, our budget is still, we still have money in our budget, yes. Don't have any money for electricity, but we got money for that. We have a bottom line budget, but electricity's shot up. We blew every penny and then some.
I'll say that last one I looked at.
We're on project, we're on pace for $950,000 of electricity this year. Really
So much
budgeted
for
six.
having your own wind turbine.
And we, and we only budgeted $650,000. They're crazy. But
So is there a time frame for when we're going to get at this analysis between the two products?
I'll ask Sean to submit to us a timeline. We want to get it done rapidly. I don't want to put words in his mouth. I'm going to say I want it tomorrow. Of course, these engineers are going to say that's impossible. So he'll give me a realistic timeline to do a thorough investigation of bullet liner. I'll ask him for that, but you will get it before anything happens.
Not just bullet liner, but the two of them in comparison.
Yes,
I
you-
want to see both of them
get it.
side by side, not
You'll
just
get it.
bullet liner.
Because we already have bullet, but we already have Primus, but he'll
But I've not seen it.
oh, okay. We'll reaffirm that, and then we'll give you that, and we'll give you the new one too, so you can make your
So
own comparison.
I want a checklist of the,
Just tell me what I give it to
something
him, so.
that says
Okay, let's.
I can
let's
easily see.
put the bed for a second.
He will.
Sean, would you come up, introduce yourself, and let, maybe ask a question or two? Can't answer the question, make up a story.
That's what the Chinese usually do.
Hello, Sean Osborne, OSD engineering.
Okay, what were your questions now? Had some for him.
So when you finish your analysis, you're going to stand behind this Chinese product if you decide that it's equal to Primus?
If the determination from the study is that Primus and bullet liner are equal, then that will be in the report. Stand behind it, I'm not really sure what you mean in terms of guarantee.
If it doesn't work, I want somebody to blame, and I can't go to China.
You'll have to go to the local contractor.
So I want you to put your name on the line.
It will,
How else am I going to know if the Chinese product is good unless I have somebody that I can pin down, somebody that's an engineer, qualified to make that decision?
we wouldn't guarantee, because that's not what we do. We would certify that they appear to be equal, but we don't, we're not. So the question is, the information that's available from the manufacturer, from those who've used it, from the contractors they certify, does it meet the third-party standards, and are they equal? Now, what happens when Primus or bullet liner manufactures the material for this project? That's where they then have to guarantee that they're following the standards, because if they make a mistake, which can happen with material, while they're manufacturing it, fabricating it, then that's for them to replace, repair, and then reinstall. That's why I'm sort of hemming about when you say guarantee.
And both products have a 5-year warranty. I don't know if that helps you, but both products come with a 5-year warranty of the product.
How are you going to research it since it's never been used in this country? I mean, are you just going to believe documentation?
Not just documentation, no. Like I said, I'll be talking to so each of the material, they have to certify a contractor to do the work. And so then the question becomes, these contractors, because one of my questions that I have in my head, talk to the guy about, is, yes, you can go after the manufacturer for the 5-year warranty. They want to make sure that the installer is competent and that you don't get in the middle as the owner, as the town of Wareham, where you have the installer and the manufacturer pointing fingers at each other, which doesn't solve your problem. So that's one of the criteria that I'll be looking at, is so that you don't have that as a problem. Because if they can't, if that ends up being a problem where Primus can say, we won't be pointing fingers and Bullet Liner can't, well then they're not equal in terms of you getting the final product that you need. If they both don't have that, that's what I mean by it won't just be paperwork, it's also a matter of what are the agreements between those two parties.
Where are you going to speak to an installer?
So all of the, in order for either one of them to bid, they have to have installers that they have trained to do the work.
They've never done it in America.
Right. And that's true of when many years ago when I was doing cured in place, which is now the felt liner inverted, back in the 90s. That was true then too. There's always a buildup in building up the number of conductors you have available. But it's a matter of how does that company form that relationship that protects you, the customer, and that's part of the evaluation.
Mr. Chairman, if I may, they're also overseas, all over Europe, so we try to make some contacts there. How valid it is, I don't know, because we're not going to be face-to-face. But we'll call the installers that are doing it already overseas. They're doing it overseas. They've just never done a project in America. I believe they may have done one in Canada. But the point I'm making is we can call all we want, and they can send us letters, but that's as good as the paper is written on. But we can do that diligence. But if it's not in America, I can't go see it.
You used the analogy a little while ago about them building a 737.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Boeing, when they built it, they did all the research. They spent a lot of money there. But let's face it, the reason China can sell it cheaper is because they don't pay shit for wages.
Absolutely.
All right. If the same ingredients go into this epoxy,
I agree.
it isn't a case of where labor can save them any money. I can't see where they can be so much better.
Well, remember, no, they manufacture a line. It's actually like a rubber hose. They manufacture it.
Fine, but it's the labor. It just can't be that much cheaper. They have to use the same ingredients.
If China, I don't know how China beats products now, other than cheap manufacturing and buying a lot of product. There are certain products at times you can't get because China's bought up the market. So they have a way to buy, and I can't explain, I'm not an economist, but China is able to reproduce major products at sometimes half the price.
I don't argue that point, but most of their savings is in labor.
Yes, I get that.
Okay,
Or subsidies from the government.
well, that's, they,
So I can't deal with that, whatever it is. And I get that, but if they're saying they can do it for less money, that's great. But what Sean's got to do is make sure that it's real. That's all I'm saying. Is it real?
Sean, will you be able to compare the manufacturing of these two liners in your comparison as to one better than the other? What product do they use in their manufacturing?
As close as I can to getting, as you said, I think earlier in your discussion, if you assume that Primus, which you had approved previously, is bullet liner equal in terms of the materials, as I was saying earlier, in terms of, and then there's a process. And then, of course, as part of the process, as all of us remember from manufacturing, it's the QA/QC portion, right? So if you don't have the quality control, and then that's a matter of paperwork, it's also a matter of what's the experience that we're seeing in the field.
Where is Primus created?
Germany.
Okay. Will the delivery, any idea if the delivery time will be the same on both product?
I don't know that yet. But that's part of the
Okay.
evaluation.
It's a question we'll ask, because that's the other part of whatever we get, is what's the lead time because of transportation and all that good
So-
stuff. It's crazy.
All right,
So in other words, you're going to ask all of the same questions we're asking you.
Yes,
Just that we're going to pay you $83,000 to do it.
Plus, now he's got to write it all up,
from both companies.
and he's got to write up all the information, then he's got to put the specs together, redo the plans. I mean, it's more than just asking the same questions.
Now redo the plans.
All they have to do is cross off the name on the last set.
Almost, yes. He can take them, cross them out, and say, I got it, yes, I get that.
I mean, a liner is a liner.
Is a line.
Putting it in through the same method regardless of who manufactured the liner. So that
it's-
engineering component is no different. It's just what goes inside.
And
The pipe is
theoretically,
being-
the cost would be the same.
Yes.
So it all comes down to,
And the stamp. We're asking him to say yes or
China's
no.
epoxy as opposed to America's epoxy.
Yeah, it's either China or Germany.
Or what?
Germany. Primus is from Germany.
What about local manufacturers?
Which one?
There are none?
Not to make FFRP. FFRP is like slip lining.
What have we used in the past to line our pipes in Wareham?
CIPP.
And we
which-
can't get that now?
We can, but we can't do it for the force main. We looked at the price, and I even asked again, because I got a call from a gentleman that does SIPP using the Warren product.
That's an
SIP is sprayed in place.
CIPP and
Yeah, CIP,
FFRP.
yes, there's a lot of them, but sprayed in place. There's a machine that goes into the pipe, and it sprays epoxy
Yeah.
on. He said he can do that for around 3 million, maybe less. So,
Why did we use in Swiss Beach that failed on us? Because someone had a sump pump?
CIPP, yes. 'cause
So which one?
CIPP,
That goes for the smaller ones.
yes.
Can't we
Well,
use-
you can do it large, it's inverted. They take, this particular, they use fiberglass, they
It's-
invert it, they stuff it with epoxy, and then they blow it in, it comes out and it sticks to the wall. And when it sticks to the wall, the laterals, when you have a sump pump pumped to the lateral,
Well, I
it breaks it
understand.
open.
I was,
So it's CIPP.
we can't, we're limited to the type of material we use to do a force main. We can't use CIPP, SIPP, we have to use an FFRP?
FFRP, we can use an SIPP.
No, then why aren't we?
Well, when we
There
did
has
this,
to be a reason as to why we're looking at an FFRP. I hate these letters.
I know. SIPP is been done in smaller water lines.
Okay, so
and
the
we don't know if it could be done in 18-inch lines.
Okay, so the SSIP
kinda-
is limited to the diameter of the pipe.
That's what we're told. We
And
can,
the CIPP is also pretty much,
because you have to do more cuts. A CIPP, when you push a line, is a limited amount. We have 2 miles to do, so it means you have to keep cutting the pipe shorter pieces to get it in, then make connections.
okay, and the
And it's a lot
FFRP
longer.
can be done,
They can pull 1,000-foot lengths.
Okay.
And some, they can pull up to 2 miles, but they'll do it in 1,000, so it's less time to put it in, and you got more tensile strength to
And
pull it
is-
further.
so there's, between manholes, this FFRP is a better product for installing
Install,
that
yes.
length of 2 miles.
Yes, and
Okay.
also there's 90s and 45s, and we'd have to cut them to get CIPPs in them, and we can't, so
Well,
it's.
you've
it's a-
just said no more CIPP, so that's why you went to the FFRP, because you
FFRP,
could do a
yes.
longer distance at the same time
Yes,
for construction and vehicle interruptions, et cetera.
absolutely.
Okay.
And one of the biggest costs is downtime of the project, because we have to do bypass. And when we first looked at CIPP, it was going to be at least 6 weeks to 8 weeks. And to take narrows offline for that period of time cost millions.
Okay.
So that's what we looked at, decreasing that time so we can save money on, because we
All right.
can't run the pump station when we're doing this.
I'm going to make a motion, we approve the contract for $83,500 for OCD LLC.
I'll second that. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
210.
210. All right, I'll need your approval on these.
Thank you, Sean.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Appreciate you being here.
Member number 2. You-
Okay, Guy, you've got center stage.
Generators, Terry Lane generator was commissioned today. It took us quite a while to get them. We ordered them almost 2 years ago, and then we finalized the orders 18 months ago, and they arrived, and they're in. And today, we commissioned it. We put the new transfer box in, and we
You turned it on.
turned it on. We got to call
Thank you.
commission it, because what they do is, they have to put a new transfer switch, so when the power goes out, transfer. I don't know if you have one in your house. You know, at home, you get one that, when the power goes out, automatically transfers it?
No, but,
Yeah, so that's
so you
called
turned it on today.
Okay, yes, we turned it on today.
Thank you.
It's all done being turned on. We also moved the force main at Littleton Development. Littleton Development, we have a force main that goes from Terry Lane Pump Station to Swiss Beach Manhole at Littleton Drive. They were building a building for the elderly, and it was going to be on top of our force main, so we had to move it.
I saw those plans, it wasn't. The
It
force
was.
main was going down the road, not the path. That was not where, I saw the plans, it was not where they were putting the building for the seniors.
The seniors were actually going to go, corner of the building was going to be over the force main, retaining wall is still going to be over the force main, but the corner of the building, so they had to move the
Okay,
force
so
main.
you saw different plans than I
Well,
approved
the
for
plans, yes, I saw plans, and I had to go look at
So
them.
that's
and
why
walked
that
it.
force main had to be,
Had to be moved, because the corner of the building was going to be over that force main, so we moved it. And we also have to do an easement for that force main, so we couldn't have an easement under the building if something would
yes,
happen.
it was quite surprised I could not find any easement in place for any of that sewer line going across that property.
Any of it, and you're not going to find...
None of it.
You can't find easements for any of our force mains, I say any, but most of our force mains, we never put easements, we never recorded them, so it becomes a battle. But anyways, we'll face
Okay.
that. So one of the things I've asked them is to put an easement. I want the contractor to put an easement. We need an easement on the force main, so we know forever that if we have to get there, we can, and I don't want to take any chance of not being able to. Also,
And how much does it cost to do an easement? And who has to approve it?
I don't know. I asked Ken to have it done, so I'm leaving it to the town. I really don't want to get involved. I don't want to pay for it, but I want an easement. I
I
have,
was quite surprised when someone say, hey, you have to move your force main. I'm saying, my plans don't show you need it.
it's crazy, but we did. So we moved it. I didn't mean to jump around on you, so it leads me to another point I was going to talk
Sorry,
about
was there
later.
a problem because it was in use? Did you have to pump?
I did. I had to take the station offline. I had to put a pump truck there, pump it, and then go watch them cut it. And I got exercise today, and I'm not good at this anymore. I walk too much, but so we cut this side, we cut that side. They put a new line in, 250 feet. So we had to put joint. I had to watch the joints go, then I had to fire up the system. The day before, actually 2 days before, I had to go there while we pressurized the system to make sure there's no leaks. And then we put it online, then I had to watch it flow without, make sure there's no leaks. So we did all that, it's done, and now they can put the building where they're gonna put it and not approach upon our force main.
Yes.
So the other question, when I was there, they asked about starting to put the sewer in. I haven't signed off on any pumps yet, I haven't seen it, but they can put the lines in. So the question becomes, they gave me a letter from the town that said that they would do all building permits for free, because it's a friendly 40B. We have no such directions. In the judgment or condition by the zoning board, it does not waive any fees. So the question to the board is, are we going to waive sewer fees to make the connections? That's the question to the board. because they're asking me for waiver, and I said, it doesn't say that in this document. They gave me the letter. I said, that's specific to the buildings, and the town's waiver the building fees, does not address the sewer fees, and I would bring it to the sewer commissioners, and whatever they felt is what we would do.
How does the district deal with their water lines?
The district?
Yeah. Would they charge them a fee?
What district is that?
Water, fire.
Yeah, I think they do. I don't know, yeah.
We do too.
Yeah, I believe they do, but I can't speak for them. Okay.
If they do, we do.
So, okay, so we're going to charge fees, okay.
Okay, what are fees?
I'll get you the numbers. The fees are for connection fees, there's 6 buildings. It's going to be a trench permit at, I think it's $400. There's going to be 6 connection fees at $500 a piece. That's $3,500. It'd be about $4 or $5 grand. I can give you the hard numbers.
Only 6 buildings? They're not counting the senior building?
I remember 6. Again, I'm giving you 6. If there's 8, it'll be times 8. If it is 10, it'll be times
Okay.
10. If it's 11, it'll be times 11. I remember seeing 6 real quick, but I didn't see the rec building. I didn't see, they may have more buildings. I went by the original that talked about so many units, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedrooms, and I think I come up with 6, but I'll look at the plans and get a hard number. But every building gets a connection is going to be a fee. Simple as that. And so whatever it is, it is. Because they want to start laying, and I said, well, you got to have permits and all that, and they said, those are all waived. And I said, I don't remember us waiving them.
Do they pay a betterment?
No betterment. That property was owned by the town. And there was, I thought that was addressed. I think Ken gave us a document a long time ago that said there was no betterment because they made plans a long time ago to do this, but I can further check it. But I was told the betterment is not applicable to this project. If you want me to ask that question again and get the documentation, I will. But I remember Ken sending something over to say this particular project, because it was town-owned and there was already a development one time, was not subject because they had left the stub off a Littleton Drive manhole for this project.
If they don't have that document that he's saying, would that allow us to charge a betterment?
I would think.
I'd ask Rich on that, but yeah.
I would think, because I already asked the question long ago, and Ken said no, they had a lateral, that, so I went with it.
Do you know if each building will have their own lateral, or they'll be shared?
Each building will have their own lateral into a central system. So the
If
lateral
I've
comes-
only got 6 buildings, then I have
Have
6
6
laterals.
laterals. You'll have
Then I
6
need a lateral for the community center, then I need at least
7,
1 or 2 laterals for the units for the affordable.
If it's going to a central collection, you're only talking about 1 lateral going into the system, right?
So, yeah, there's going to, because they have a series of manholes, and they'll run the laterals to the manholes, then they're going to build a pump station, then it'll manhole gravity into the pump station.
Well, I thought
and
we
the pump
were
station will pump it out.
I thought we said that we would want a lateral for each home, each building. Because we're having issue with 2 homes having the same lateral, and who
But
pays for the backup?
That's a separate issue on that particular thing. It's not the lateral problem, because we've already agreed to tie more than 1 unit into a single lateral, which you've done that on Minot Ave.
It's a lateral coming out of the building, and
Okay.
I'll have to really look at it, because
Oh.
I haven't got the sewer plans, they're getting ready to start, but there's 1 lateral coming per building, and I'll look at it, if it's a 6-inch, I may
Into
not
their
be happy
central-
with it. I may want an 8, I have to look at that, then it goes into a manhole, which feeds to another
So
manhole.
when will you see the plans to know?
I'll scrutinize them, I'll see them sometime next week, I'll scrutinize them.
Who maintains the lateral?
They do.
We maintain from the central collection point?
No, we maintain nothing. That whole development is maintained by the developer, everything. We just treat it because it comes into our line. There's a manhole on Littleton Drive that they're going to dump into, then it just gravities to our system. Goes out to Kennedy Lane. That's it. So they maintain everything. We maintain nothing. It's their development. I put it on the back of the developers. That's why I said to them, I want to chop everything. On 40Bs, we've been asking for grinder pumps, each individual unit. They're not doing that. It just said grinder pump in the decision by the ZBA. So they're going to pick 1 station. I said, well, that station has to have a grinder pump, and I want to prove it because I want to make sure it's a grinder pump. You're not just throwing any pump in there. So they're waiting to get the specs. They're waiting for the paperwork to come out and submit it to us, and then we'll review it. to make sure it meets the criteria of a grinder pump, which macerates. It just shreds the rags. I don't want any more non-flushables. You're not supposed to flush them anyways. Everybody does. I don't want another problem. I just don't want it. I've got too many. We're at our pumps all the time. As a matter of fact, we're replacing pumps because they get jammed up with baby wipes, and it jams with the pump, and now we got to put a new pump in, and we're spending a lot of money because people are flushing everything but toilet paper.
Where are these grinder pumps?
So the particular grinder pumps is a specific pump that macerates. In the new 40B development, in, which one, the Woodland Cove, every building's going to have a macerating grinder pump. I'll use the word E1 as a generic. Every building will have duplex systems to
I
chop
think
it
we
up.
have to stop calling it a grinder pump.
Well, it's what it does. It grinds. Most pumps pass. They don't cut, they don't chop. They used to call them chopper pumps. So what
No, but I
happens,
mean,
so
Call it a masquerader or whatever,
whatever you want to call it, but it's, they're called,
but get away from grinder pumps.
well, that's what they are, but okay.
I couldn't agree with you more, but
Because it's the end
the
product.
nomenclature's getting us in trouble.
Well, yeah, some people really take offense to it. I think generally speaking, in the industry, it's not a bad word, but I get it. The problem is that people flush whatever they want, and our regs say you can't. Our regs are very clear. State regs are clear, but people are people, and I'm not going to leave it at
Well,
that.
so on Littleton Drive,
Yes, so I don't want any rags coming into our system. So I want to
but
pump.
everything is.
Well, if there's a macerating pump, it'll macerate. If it jams, whose fault is it, whose problem is that? Not ours.
Well, that's why I asked you where they were.
They're not ours. So I did the same thing with it's going to be on their pump station, on their property. We're not touching it. So I am spec'ing on these developments to have grinder pumps or macerating pumps. That way there, if it fails,
I
then
understand that.
they back up. That's all. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying, because non-flushables is a huge issue. It's a huge issue. And our particular pump stations are seeing them and jamming, and we have to rebuild pumps at our cost for the non-flushables.
Okay, Guy, did I understand you correctly? You said that they are just requiring a grinder pump for the whole project?
Yes, for the pump station. So it'll be two, a duplex system.
Okay, so they're only talking about having two pumps. Okay, so that means you're gonna have to size those pumps
Accordingly.
large enough to be able to handle
That is correct.
the volume coming out of them.
That is correct. That's on them. They can,
And both of those are gonna be on their property,
on their property,
and both of those will be their responsibility
that's correct.
in the event of malfunction.
If it malfunctions, they have a problem with the tenants, not us.
Okay.
So that's what we're doing. So I'll get the final documents, and I'll do that, whatever I got to do to make sure that they grind the pumps. I'll have the engineer look at it.
We're not talking about a half-horse pump here.
No, we're not. We're not talking about half horse. We're not talking about single phase. We're not talking about pumps that are just going to
Right.
push rags from one station to the
Talking
next, or
pumps
from one
more
home to the
size what
next.
we're using in the system right now.
It's going to be a good site, because their flow is, I haven't done the numbers, but I think they got like 80 units or something. It's going to be quite a bit of units, so take the average two-bedroom times,
1,800.
you know what I mean? Yeah, it's like 15,000, I think we approved. That was a rough number. So that flow is coming at us, and all these houses are going to flush all these baby wipes. They keep coming at us, or these non-flushables, adult wipes, whatever. It'll take out the station. Plus, I got to do something with all the rags that come to us. We have to take them out. We have to get rid of them.
This will eliminate them coming from that particular spot.
Yes, I'd like to get all spots.
Eliminate the rest of the town, but it'll eliminate.
This spot, and the same thing with Woodland Cove.
Yep.
It's because what's going to happen is when they fail, they're getting a call, not us. So if they continue to allow their tenants to flush them, that's okay. They're going to deal with it.
Yep.
They're going to be responsible, they're going to be accountable, not us.
Sounds
That's all. That's the goal. So anyways,
system.
so I will, again, I'll develop a fee list, and then I'll get it over to the board, and then you can see what it is, and you can prove the exact money. Tomorrow, we're doing salt works. We're going to commission, or we're going to, what's the right word?
Come on.
Turn on.
We're going to turn on the generator tomorrow at Saltworks, which is going to be a little difficult, because that one's on the beach, and that panel is about 18 feet in the air. That pump station, that generator is about 18 feet in the air. So that'll be a little, but we're going to put that on tomorrow, and we're going to tie in the the control panel and all that. We'll do that tomorrow. We're hoping by the end of the day
When
tomorrow.
you say
that-
we, who's we?
Not me. It's being done by the enterprise. And we hired Fall River Electric, went out to bid, and that bid was
That's what
done,
I was getting at. All
yeah,
right.
that bid was done 3 years ago.
Check the oil before they turn it on.
Yeah, well, they own it until we accept it, so I hope they do also. But that's Fall River Electric, they won the bid 3 years ago. So that's who we are, but we look at it, and the engineers certify it and all that good stuff, so that's who we are. We'll do that tomorrow. So that'll be done tomorrow. Latest and greatest. May 4th is when I'm tentatively going to go to Kansas City to look at the Pista. It's called a Pista. We're going to go to the manufacturing factory, and we're going to go to the town outside of the manufacturer to actually see it work.
Who's the company guy?
It's Smith and Lovelace. They've been around
And what is
forever.
this thing you're going to see? The first I've heard of it.
Pista.
Yeah,
It's going to be Pista.
what is it?
Pista is I hate to say things, I really do, because people, anyways, what we're doing is,
Plug-and-play headworks.
it's a plug-and-play, not Headworks, don't go there, because
Okay.
I have no order control, nothing, but anyways. So we have a problem at the plant with rags, non-flushables. It's taken out a pump, last week cost me $35,000 to replace it, I ordered it, 18 weeks out. I sent the other one out to be rebuilt. That's gonna cost me $20,000, well, they tell me 19, but $20,000 to rebuild that. So I don't have a screening system that takes out rags. I do not have a grit system that removes grits. That's why we're doing the headworks. Doing the headworks, I know if we move forward, it's gonna take 4 years before it goes online. 3 anyways, but probably 4. So when I met with Smith and Lovelace, they have a skid that has a screen and a grit assembly with a bypass that comes on a skid. A truck drops it. I want to take that skid and plug it in to the headworks so it can flow, then plug it into we have a splitter box for flow modulation, and tie it in and put it online. I may have to put a small building over it. I have to bring power to it, but it'll be a lot less. But more importantly for me is it gets the problem solved in less than a year. Maybe I'm wrong. 22 weeks is less than a year. 22 weeks is right around half a year.
It's half a year.
So I can get it in 22 weeks instead of waiting 5 years, or I'm sorry, 4 years, because we have a problem. I'm going to continue to lose pumps. I've been buying pumps like crazy at a tremendous amount of money because I can't stop baby wipes. So I have to get pumps and I have to replace them. So I'm trying to eliminate that by replacing these 2 components of the entire headworks and do it sooner than later so we can stop replacing pumps. And then they can continue on and figure it out. And whatever they're going to do, we can slide that into the building and be done with it. But we'll take the urgency of the grits and rags, or non-flushables, of destroying our plant. It gets it done a lot quicker. I'm going to go see it.
What's it cost?
They estimated $700,000
Just for the, just for the,
for the Pista, that has the screen and the grit removal.
so it's not the building, it's not the electricity, it's not everything else?
Not everything
That's
included.
okay, we're paying for that anyway,
Yes,
so that doesn't change.
that's right. No order
New building,
control.
okay.
On that, no control
What did you
panel.
say, 7,000?
700,000. 700,000.
$750,000,
Yes.
and you can get a whole new headworks.
No, I get,
Can we get 2?
I'm getting, yeah, I'm going to look. I'm going to get a
I'm dead
grit and
serious, you'd have a
screen.
backup, bang, bang.
About that, yeah.
So what does that do with the article we have for $36 million for new headworks?
Again, I'm going to be,
Stays where it is and goes through the way it is.
I'm gonna be frank. I can put this up. I'm looking for an immediate solution, and we can say, we'll just put a bill and we'll call it done. We're not done, but if we want to call it done, we can call it done. It's just a Band-Aid for me, because when we can move it into the building. The building's gone. You have to come see it. That's how to explain. When I take people through it,
Headworks. Oh, he's going, where are you
Where's what?
traveling to?
where am I going? I'm not telling you. You might sneak on the plane. Kansas City.
That's only if it's a
Oh,
one-way
it's in
ticket.
Kansas City?
That's where they manufacture it. I'm going to go to the manufacturing facility. And then they have them, they use out there extensively, so I'm going to go to plants
Get
and
lots
see
of
them working.
brochures.
And I'm going to talk to the, I'll get that, and I'm going to talk to the operators, because they're the ones that are going to tell me what they think of it. That's the plan.
And it's not made in China and it's approved in this country?
It's made in this country. Its factory is in this country. It's not in China. That in itself kind of excites me. But anyways, I'll let you know, and so, you know, I can't cut them a check, but if it's everything they say it is, and then I think it's a good move, long-term and short-term. I do. So I would like, I'll bring it forward.
And
and
you're
you can
saying
make the
that you can
decision.
get this in 6 months roughly?
They said 22 weeks is what they said, approximately. If I order it, it'll take 22 weeks to build it.
So, yeah, 6 months.
Yeah, but where do you get the funds for it?
I haven't figured that out yet.
Well, we,
One step at a time. Well, first of all, we're going to find out what it's going to cost and if it's viable. We don't
And
know
then
if it's viable yet.
yeah, once I find it's viable, it's cost, what it costs, then I gotta put the ancillaries to it, tie it in.
So your meeting is May
electricity,
what?
Building, I'm sorry?
When is the meeting, early
4th.
May?
May 4th, I'm flying out to
When are we having the special town meeting for the 36 million?
June.
June 12th. So it's possible that if this is doable, that maybe we can get another article on June 12th?
In addition
For
to,
retained earnings. To pull them out to buy it. I'm just saying.
I'm not looking right now, I'm just,
I'm just.
I want to talk about the June town meeting. It's not on the agenda, but when we get done with this, I'd like to talk about that.
Okay, then I'll be done. You can talk about the June town meeting. No? I'm sorry.
June when?
I'm not sure. It's the early part of June. I said the 12th. I don't know.
And when do they close the warrant for it?
I have no clue.
Because is it possible that we should consider putting other articles in it other than the 36 million for the headworks and the clarifier? There was an article, a meeting topic in one of the minutes that talked about the money needed to redo the Kendrick pump station, but it's not on the capital plan, so I'm not sure.
It isn't?
No, it's not on the capital plan.
I thought it was.
Well,
We
since
talked
I
about-
maintain the capital plan, I don't remember seeing it.
Oh, you must have dropped it or lost it. We've talked about that for years. That's been a project for years. Anyways, we can,
So, I mean, if we have something coming up in a special town meeting for the 36 million, should we include other articles for other capital equipment that the plant needs?
it'd be wise.
Should we be putting something in there to handle, let me see, capital plan? We have 4 million for SCABA replacement. Should we be including that in an article? We have 2 million for aeration blowers.
Wait a minute. We've done the skater already, haven't we?
200,000 it said for skater, right?
This says 4 million for skater replacement.
Oh, that's to replace everything, and we haven't got there yet.
Well, we
We've been-
haven't funded it.
Yeah, because we've been scabbing it. We do the repairs. We like repairs, and we did. So we did a $200,000 repair to keep it running. It's going to need some more work, but at least we're up and running.
Then you have aeration blowers for the pump stations, 2 millions. Here's your capital plan. Kendrick is not listed.
Well, you must have taken it off.
Yeah, on
It was
purpose.
there. Yeah, you did. I'm sure you did. That you did. When you get home, pencil it back in.
Not without the committee's approval. Then I have a 12th Street pipe replacement for $1 million.
We haven't done that yet because we had to wait 5 years, and I think we're there now because Dave just did the road.
I'm looking at your capital plan and say, should we be including any of these things in the June special town meeting for capital appropriations for the sewer? Then we have the 3 pump stations resiliency for the 3 of them. That's $2 million each.
And we try to get a grant for that, but yeah, we have resiliency plans all approved, ready to go.
And that goes through 2025. For everything else is fairly small in comparison. 618,000 for a sludge holding tank, all 8 of them. 300,000 for a biofilter tank, 5 equalization basin. Then you have all your ongoing projects that we never even touch. Generators, rehab pump stations.
Generators, we've been rehabbing as we go. We do that weekly. Generators are all done, other than the plant generator. So eventually, that's going to be a big hit, so eventually we'll get that done. We repaired it last year.
I'm just saying, there's an ongoing capital plan that I never see articles for.
Because a lot of it comes out of the budget, we just keep budgeting it, and we don't.
You
but send
budget
me-
capital without,
Well, we used to, but
without
we don't-
capital, I'm
haven't-
going to
this is the
say.
Last year, I budgeted capital.
Your capital all goes for principal and interest. You don't have any capital left over for items.
Then I guess we better make capital then. I guess we need to make capital, because we got a lot of capital items.
Well, anyway,
But anyway, send me
something
the
to
list, and I'll
consider.
go over it with you, because, yeah, I'm sure you have in the past, but I'll go over it, and we'll talk about where everything is. So send me the list, give me an opportunity, and I'll answer it, and I'll spell out what I know, and then we can go from there. And you're right, maybe you should get some articles out there. Yeah, that's a valid point.
But until we put it on the agenda, we can't really go any further. So we need to add to the agenda,
What agenda?
the sewer commissioner's
Okay.
agenda. We need to add about the special town meeting. We should add to the agenda Swiss Beach so we can talk about what's happening in Swiss Beach as an agenda item.
Okay, that's, well, that's.
And did you all get copies of the special spring article that was rewritten?
Yes.
The one that you sent over?
No, I didn't send, did I send it over?
Well, you said it was rewritten or something. You
Okay,
had it
you're
written,
including my
highlighted.
distribution, so, yeah.
It was in red or whatever,
Yeah.
so.
So that's coming up in special spring. Who's going to talk to that on town meeting
Sandy, I have a
floor?
question on that. I was talking, so let me ask you a question on that. The article is for $6 million, right, to take it out of borrowing into,
Move it from borrowing to retained earnings.
okay. So my question was, is that $2 million in engineering was to do the rest of Swiss Beach with macerating systems. We didn't get the SR funding for that, so we don't need that $2 million.
I'm
Are we
not
still going to move it?
Yes,
That's part of the 6, so you're still going to move it? Okay.
yes, yes, because we are, yes, in total. Whether we use it is another issue. If we don't use it, we can have another article to rescind the use of these
That's all,
retained
yeah,
earnings.
That's fine. I just wanted,
It becomes too complicated if we say we're to have, I'm going to remove 6, but I want 4 in place, so it's all
Leave it the way it
2
is.
by 2, leave it is, and if we don't use it, then we'd have an article to rescind the 2 million from retained earnings.
okay.
Too complicated to try to
I
change it
understand.
this late in the game.
Okay.
And I'm sure the moderator would not allow us to make that type of modification on the town meeting floor, because it's significant.
Okay.
So we are going to add to the agenda, I want to talk about Swiss Beach at every meeting, what's happening. I want to talk about the special spring meeting as to whether or not we should add any more articles to it to cover our capital needs, so we all in one place as opposed to doing it in piecemeal. So that's just the 6 millions for the headworks and the clarifier.
So send an email, because Jim sets the agenda, so send an email to the board.
Oh, I thought you did.
I have nothing to do with the agenda.
Oh.
Jim sets the agenda. So what you do is send an email to the sewer commissioners, which you want on the agenda. It'll also go to Christiana, and she puts it, and she sends to Jim, what do you want on the agenda? So
Wait a minute.
she'll do it.
I agree. Nothing's
I'm sorry? I think it should be on the agenda. Whether we talk about it is something else, but it should be on the agenda, which will allow us to talk about it should something happen. Because if it's not on the agenda, we can't talk about it. Is that what you're saying? You didn't want it on
No.
there because you didn't want to talk
There's
about?
some things we can't talk about.
I know that.
I'm even
I just
having a
want
hard
it
time
on
getting
the
information from the
agenda
DEP. The
in case
DEP
something
is-
comes up.
It will be on there if something comes up.
Yeah.
It will be
Yeah.
on there
It
if
should
something
stay
comes up.
off the agenda.
It will be on there if something comes up. ASAP.
Whatever happens has to go out to bid.
Yep.
If it's over $50,000, it's got to go out to bid.
Yep.
So it has to go on the agenda, because you guys got to prove to move it forward to a bid level. So no matter what happens, you got to have it. Even if it's emergency, it's got to be decam.
We went off, who will speak to the special spring town meeting article for transfer, for changing from borrowing to reserve, from going from borrowing to our retained earnings? Who will speak to the article in town meeting floor?
No, I can do that, that's not a problem.
Okay,
It's a simple article.
I know, I just wanted to be clear that you will represent the commissioners for that article on town meeting floor.
Yep,
You could have volunteered.
exactly. Thank you. Thank you. Gotcha.
Yeah, so all of Onset's done Jim Cameron. We've done most of Swiss Beach, most of, what's over the other, Indian Mountain Beach. So we'll wrap that up. We ordered a new computer and a program so we can put it in the GIS into the cloud. So, because we have to submit it to the EPA. So we'll be able to gather it up, put it in and then we're gonna come back. Everything we cleaned, we got a camera. That's why we bought this equipment. So everything's been jet rotted, everything's been vectored, everything's been cleaned. Matter of fact, in the process, we found blockages throughout the town of Onset. We found blockages on Bertina, we found blockage on the backside of Onset Ave, one of the side streets coming off in Main Street, downtown Onset. So that was important. We found blockage at Indian Mountain Beach. Just by doing routine maintenance, we found blockages, we found systems surcharged.
So if it's blocked, nothing flows?
Yeah, it just about flows. So when I say blocked, so an invert is a pipe.
Restricted?
I call it blocked only because when you have more than 3/4 of the pipe full, then it's blocked because it backs up in the system, but there's enough getting through that it doesn't back up into your house.
Oh.
But the system is surcharged.
Just enough to hold up all the flushable, non-flushables.
No, it was crazy. So we unblocked them, and then we had a lot of flow. Then it hits the pump station. But anyways, the point I was making is just by doing routine maintenance, you find things that save you catastrophic failure. Now, we have 4 guys, so it's very difficult to maintain anything.
Yeah, that's an issue. That's an issue. Excuse me. Anything else? You all right?
Yep.
Okay,
Excuse me.
no problem.
It's that time of the year, everything tickles.
And pushing a lot of pollen lately, too. Temperature, I mean, it's been pushing tons.
You have anything else, Guy?
No, not at the moment. We talked about that. We got a new the new skid for the water systems in. That project's wrapping up. We've done a punch list. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's outstanding. I'll get together for you a list of all the things, as Sandy mentioned, that are pending, and then we can look at what we want to do with them, but there's a lot of things out there.
One of the things I think we need to add on there, and because I'm sure it's not on, I don't remember seeing it anyhow, is, when we were talking the other day, the Narrows pump station.
We talked about replacing it.
I understand that, but that's, yeah, I mean, that's an item that should get stuck on there. Now, what we do with it from that point
Yep.
forward.
No, I agree.
Initially, that's different, but.
Yeah, we estimate
that
8
needs to
million,
get in there.
yeah. And it's the largest pump station, the most important, and it's deteriorating rapidly. We've got a crack in the main beam and things of that sort, so it may be wise to at least get it out there, make it notice, make it a bit, if you will, public. It's out there, and then what we do, but let's acknowledge it. Let's not hide it.
And I think, I don't know if it's on the list or not, but the Heinz Field pump station, I mean, lining,
It should be. Sandy keeps,
I think it is, but
I
I'm not.
think Sandy's crosses things off, but we talked about doing,
Top of my head.
we talked about 3 force mains.
But unless you come before capital planning and physically put it on the list, it doesn't go on the list.
You should put them on, not me. You put them on. You're sewer, just put them on. Tell the guys what you're putting on and put it on. It's pretty straightforward stuff. You don't need me.
So the Kendrick Pump Station expansion is on the list.
It is?
The Narrows, I'm putting it on now.
Okay, thank you.
And the Narrows Pump Station replacement,
Yes.
and what's the other one?
Force main and Narrows, is it on there?
Heinz Field lining on there?
I'm sorry, Heinz Field, is that on there?
To do what with it?
To do the same thing we're doing with Narrows. Fix it.
Narrows. It's the same.
Replacement, Heinz.
Yes, that's because they're identical. Same day, same times, everything.
So if we're replacing Heinz and Narrows, why are we spending a lot of money to make them watertight?
No, when I say replace them, the same thing we're doing this, we're going to repair them. I'm sorry, replacement's a bad word, I apologize.
So the Narrows pump station is a repair?
Yes, it's a reline, rehab. Same thing with the Heinz is going to be a rehab, reline, rehab. I apologize. Replacement means to rip out pipes and put new pipes in.
But you got two things on Heinz. One is the lining of the pipe to the plant, and one is the station itself.
Narrows, and yes, Narrows and Heinz, both. Because remember, here's the thing, the pump.
the same age.
They're both identical.
I know.
That's right. Narrows pump station, Heinz pump station, we can see the brackets that hold up the force main, they go out the building, it's rotted, and so we're gonna tack it, we weld it, we do things, so we keep them going.
Okay, we have a $10 million request to lining force mains without putting any location on it.
Yes, that was to do
That's
all
the
of them.
10 million.
Yes, because remember we thought it was gonna
So
be
that's all force mains, that includes Heinz.
like this, because I think we said it was gonna be 3 million apiece, it was 3 of them. Smith's, Narrows, and Heinz. I think we estimated 3 million at the time, so we put that on for those three.
Well, the Narrows is already done, is 6 million. Smith and Heinz,
We haven't done.
what
Remember-
other force main?
That's the only ones I know of. There's others. We've got plenty. I haven't looked at the others. I'd rather
So
not.
of this 10 million for the capital plan, you want Smiths and Heinz to be specifically listed as lining force mains.
The rehab force mains, yes.
Lining or rehabbing the force mains?
Same thing. It's like,
Okay,
it's like starting up and commissioning. It's like starting up and commissioning.
all right.
No, it's
So I
rehab.
will send you this complete capital plan list and try to get some answers as to what's missing.
Yes.
It should be included.
Because remember, Smith's pump station, we replaced, part of that force main broke. We replaced it, and the rest of it's in the same condition, so we gotta do something with that. I'm afraid that force main's gonna go, and look where it is. Not in a good spot to not cause environmental disaster.
Worse than that, I won't be able to get out my driveway.
Oh, you'll be done. You'll be done. You're home for a long time.
Whoa.
Or you can park your car on the other side. You park your vehicle on the other side so you can go across. That's what I would do.
That's in the tomato patch.
Just leave it at the Narrows and I wouldn't have to commute.
Are you ready?
Yes.
I make a motion, we adjourned at 7:40.
Second.
All in favor?
All right.
Yes.